All right, here's some big news that we're tracking. Bilkis Bano hearing case. Supreme Court has asked the Gujarat Government to provide documents on that record. Supreme Court to Gujarat Government asking them to file all the records of proceedings. The state of Gujarat to place all documents on record. Notice issued to all respondents. Hearing after 3 weeks' time. Supreme Court has asked Gujarat Government to file an entire record of these proceedings, including the remission order. Remember, you had many petitioners appealing before the Supreme Court against the release of Bilkis Bano's convicts. Those convicts, 13 of them, raped a pregnant Bilkis Bano, killed at least 7 members of her family. In fact, after years in prison, they've been let out briefly by the Gujarat government. Now, Supreme Court has taken note of those pleas and has asked the Gujarat government, in fact, to place on record all the documents pertaining to Bilkis Bano's convicts. All the record of proceedings entirely must be placed before the Supreme Court. The state of Gujarat now has been issued a notice to provide those documents, all related to Bilkis Bano's convicts, all the proceedings and the remission order as well. Now, Bilkis Bano's case will be taken up once again in 3 weeks' time. So 3 weeks later, Bilkis Bano's case will be taken up, but for now, the Supreme Court asking Gujarat government to file all those records of the proceedings of Bilkis Bano case. Remember, we're looking at Bilkis Bano's convicts who are out and free as part of the remission. In fact, they raped a pregnant Bilkis Bano, killed at least 7 members of her family, have served, in fact, they had been granted life in prison, but somehow managed to release themselves. Let me quickly cut across to Nalini joining us for more. Nalini, a quick word from you. Bilkis Bano's case, the Supreme Court taking note of, has asked Gujarat government to place on record all the documents of those proceedings. What more do we know? And where are those convicts?
Nabila, well, something that is being said from the very beginning is that all of the documents regarding this entire process that has taken place where remission has been granted to these 11 convicts is still not available in public domain, and that is precisely why this point was even raised before the Supreme Court today, where the Supreme Court gone ahead and said that all the documents in the case, including the order regarding the remission, which allowed the remission to take place in accordance with the 1992 policy, is now to be placed on record before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is going to go through the order, through which they are also going to determine as to whether or not the Gujarat government had taken consent of the central government before issuing this remission order and allowing these convicts to be released. Because according to the procedure, they were required to consult with the central government because this was a case that was investigated by the CJI. So all of those details are now likely to be out in the public domain, with the Gujarat government being asked to submit all these details now before the Supreme Court. As for these convicts, well, our reporters on the ground have confirmed that several of these convicts are not in their villages anymore, and they and their family have been forced to flee, keeping in mind the kind of atmosphere that had been created in the village after their release, with a lot of people demanding that they be sent back to jail. But this, of course, is not technically breaking the law because they are allowed to move about freely, considering that they have officially been granted the remission. But the main thing in question over here is whether or not the Gujarat government was right in issuing this order in the first place, and whether the proper procedure was followed in ensuring that these convicts were released on the grounds of remission.
Nalini, like you rightly said, that they are allowed to move around, but there's no understanding on where they are. So shouldn't they be keeping the police or certain authorities informed of their movement?
No, it is definitely going to become difficult in case the Supreme Court decides that the Gujarat government did not follow proper procedure and that this remission needs to be quashed. In case the Supreme Court decides that and all of these convicts are required to go back to jail, of course, all of the warrants in respect of that will eventually be issued, but that is something that's going to happen down the line once the legal proceedings are complete. Because remember, Nabila, these 11 convicts have also been made party to the proceedings, which means that they will also get their say before the Supreme Court once the matter comes up for hearing on arguments.
All right.